001. Latin.
I vitelli dei Romani sono belli.
Translation, Go, O Vitellius, at the war sound of the Roman god. Notes, perfectly correct Latin sentence usually reported as funny by modern Italians because the same exact words, in Italian, mean Romans' calves are beautiful, which has a ridiculously different meaning.
注：现代意大利人通常会觉得原本完全正确的拉丁语句子好玩，因为在意大利语中，本句直译为罗马人的小牛很漂亮，与其拉丁语含义大相径庭。
002. Latin.
Ibidem.
Translation, in the same place. Notes, usually used in bibliographic citations to refer to the last source previously referenced.
注：通常在书目引文中指代之前引用所参考的来源。
003. Latin.
Id est.
Translation, that is, literally, it is. Notes, that is to say, in the sense of, that means, and, which means, or, in other words, namely, or sometimes, in this case, depending on the context.
注：取决于上下文。That is to say 表示那这意味着的意思，或表示换句话说，即，或有时表示在这种情况下。
004. Latin.
Id quod plerumque accidit.
Translation, that which generally happens. Notes, a phrase used in legal language to indicate the most probable outcome from an act, fact, event, or cause.
注：法律语言中的一个短语，用来表示由于某一行为、事实、事件或原因所导致的最可能结果。
005. Latin.
Idem.
Translation, the same. Notes, used to refer to something that has already been cited, ditto. See also ibidem.
注：用于指代已经被引用的事物，同上。另见 ibidem。
006. Latin.
Idem quod.
Translation, the same as. Notes, not to be confused with an intelligence quotient, IQ.
注：不要与智商 IQ 相混淆。
007. Latin.
Idus Martiae.
Translation, the Ides of March. Notes, in the Roman calendar, the Ides of March refers to the 15th day of March. In modern times, the term is best known as the date on which Julius Caesar was assassinated in 44 BC. The term has come to be used as a metaphor for impending doom.
注：在罗马历法中，3月的 Ides 是指3月的第15天。在现代，这个词最为人所知的是公元前44年凯撒大帝被暗杀的日期，该术语已被用作对即将到来的厄运的隐喻。
008. Latin.
Iesu iuva.
Translation, Jesus, help. Notes, used by Johann Sebastian Bach at the beginning of his compositions, which he ended with SDG. Soli Deo, Gloria. Compare Besiata Dishmaya.
注：约翰塞巴斯蒂安巴赫在他的作品开头使用以 SDG 结尾。参见
Besiata Dishmaya.
009. Latin.
Iesus Nazarenus Rex Iudaeorum.
Translation, Jesus the Nazarene, King of the Jews. Notes, from Vulgate, John chapter 19 line 19. John chapter 19 line 20 states that this inscription was written in 3 languages, Aramaic, Latin and Greek, at the top of the cross during the crucifixion of Jesus.
注：出自圣经拉丁通俗译本，约翰福音第19章第19至第20行指出，在耶稣被钉在十字架期间，这一铭文以3种语言亚拉姆语、拉丁语和希腊语被写在十字架的顶部。
010. Latin.
Igitur qui desiderat pacem, praeparet bellum.
Translation, therefore whoever desires peace, let him prepare for war. Notes, Publius Flavius Vegetius Renatus, De Re Militari, similar to
Si vis pacem, para bellum.
and
In pace ut sapiens aptaritidonia bello.
注：出自普布利乌斯·弗莱维厄斯为盖提乌斯·雷纳特斯的《论军事》与
Si vis pacem, parabellum.
和
In pace ut sapiens aptaritidonia bello.
相类似。
011. Latin.
Igne natura renovatur integra.
Translation: Through fire, nature is reborn whole. Notes: An alchemical aphorism invented as an alternate meaning for the acronym INRI.
注：作为首字母缩略词
INRI.
的替代含义而发明的炼金术格言。
012. Latin.
Inni ferroque.
Translation: With fire and iron. Notes: A phrase describing scorched earth tactics. Also rendered as igni at pharaoh, pharaoh ignique, and other variations.
注：描述焦土战术的短语，也呈现为 igni at pharaoh、pharaoh ignic 和其他变体。
013. Latin.
Igni saurum probat.
Translation: Fire tests gold. Notes: A phrase referring to the refining of character through difficult circumstances. It is also the motto of the Prometheus Society.
注：是指在艰难的环境中磨练性格的短语，也是普罗米修斯协会的标语。
014. Latin.
Ignis fatus.
Translation: Foolish fire. Notes: Will-o'-the-wisp.
注：鬼火。
015. Latin.
Ignorantia iuris non excusat.
Translation: Or.
Ignorantia legis non excusat.
Or.
Ignorantia legis neminem excusat.
Ignorance of the law is no excuse. Notes: A legal principle whereby ignorance of a law does not allow one to escape liability.
注：一种法律原则，即对法律的无知并不会允许人们因此逃避责任。
016. Latin.
Ignoratio elenchi.
Translation: Ignorance of the issue. Notes: The logical fallacy of irrelevant conclusion, making an argument that, while possibly valid, doesn't prove or support the proposition it claims to. An ignoratio elenchi that is an intentional attempt to mislead or confuse the opposing party is known as a red herring fallacy.
注：不相关结论的逻辑谬误，提出一个虽然可能有效的论点，但不能证明或支撑他所宣称的主張。这种有意误导或搅乱对方的 ignoratio elenchi 被称为红飞鱼谬误。
017. Latin.
Ignotum per ignotius.
Translation: Unknown by means of the more unknown. Notes: An explanation that is less clear and the thing to be explained. Synonymous with obscurum per obscurius.
注：比要解释的事情还要更不清楚的解释，与 obscurum per obscurius 同义。
018. Latin.
Ignotus.
Translation: Unknown. 019. Latin.
Illum oporte crescere me autem minui.
Translation: He must become greater, I must become less. Notes: In the Gospel of John chapter 3 line 30, a phrase said by John the Baptist after baptizing Jesus. Motto of St. John the Baptist Catholic School, San Juan, Metro Manila.
注：在约翰福音第3章第30行中，施洗者约翰在为耶稣施洗后所说的一句话。马尼拉大都会圣胡安圣约翰浸信会天主教学校的校训。
020. Latin.
Imago Dei.
Translation: Image of God. Notes: From the religious concept that man was created in God's image.
注：源自人是按照上帝的形象所创造的宗教观念。
021. Latin.
Imitatio Dei.
Translation: Imitation of a God. Notes: A principle, held by several religions, that believers should strive to resemble their gods.
注：一个由几门宗教所持有的原则，即信徒应该努力模仿他们的神。
022. Latin.
Imperium in imperio.
Translation, an order within an order. Notes, 1. A group of people who owe utmost fealty to their leaders, subordinating the interests of the larger group to the authority of the internal group's leaders. 2. A fifth column, organization operating against the organization within which they seemingly reside. 3. State within a state.
注一，对领导尽忠的一群人，使大集团的利益服从于内部集团领导的权威。2. 一个第五纵队组织与他们表面上身处的组织相对抗。3. 国中之国。
023. Latin.
Imperium sine fine.
Translation, an empire without an end. Notes, in Virgil's Aeneid, Jupiter ordered Aeneas to found a city, Rome, from which would come an everlasting, never-ending empire, the endless, sine fine, empire.
注，在维吉尔的《埃涅阿斯纪》中，朱庇特命令埃涅阿斯建立一座城市，即罗马，一个永恒的、永无止境的帝国，无尽的帝国将从那里诞生。
024. Latin.
Impossibilium nulla obligatio est.
Translation, there is no obligation to do the impossible. Notes, Publius Juventius Celsus, De Gesta Book 50, Article 17, Section 185. 025. Latin.
Imprimatur.
Translation, let it be printed. Notes, an authorization to publish, granted by some censoring authority, originally a Catholic bishop.
注，有某些审查机构最初是天主教主教授予的出版授权。
026. Latin.
In absentia.
Translation, in the absence. Notes, used in a number of situations, such as in a trial carried out in the absence of the accused.
注，用于多种情况，例如在被告缺席的情况下进行的审判。
027. Latin.
In absentia lucis, tenebrae vincant.
Translation, in the absence of light, darkness prevails. 028. Latin.
In actu.
Translation, in act. Notes, in the very act, in reality. 029. Latin.
Dominica in albis depositis.
Translation, Sunday in setting aside the white garments. Notes, Latin name of the octave of Easter.
注，复活节当天及其前一周时期共计8天的拉丁语名称。
030. Latin.
In articulo mortis.
Translation, at the point of death. 031. Latin.
In bono veritas.
Translation, truth is in the good. 032. Latin.
In camera.
Translation, in the chamber. Notes, in secret. See also camera obscura.
注，秘密的，另见 camera obscura。
033. Latin.
In casu.
Translation, in the event. Notes, in this case. 034. Latin.
In cauda venenum.
Translation, the poison is in the tail. Notes, using the metaphor of a scorpion, this can be said of an account that proceeds gently, but turns vicious towards the end, or more generally waits till the end to reveal an intention or statement that is undesirable in the listener's ears.
注，用蝎子来打比方，可用来表达一个正在进展温和的叙事，但到最后却变得恶毒，或者更一般地说，直到最后才揭示出不受听者欢迎的意图或陈述。
035. Latin.
In comebor.
Translation, in the county of Yorkshire. Notes, Eboracum was the Roman name for York, and this phrase is used in some Georgian and Victorian books on the genealogy of prominent Yorkshire families.
注 Eboracum 是约克的罗马名字，这个短语被用在乔治时代和维多利亚时代的一些关于约克郡家族谱系的书籍中。
036. Latin.
In Christi lumine pro mundi vita.
Translation, In the light of Christ for the life on the world. Notes, motto of Pontifical Catholic University of Chile.
注：智利天主教大学的校训。
037. Latin.
In Deo speramus.
Translation, In God we hope. Notes, motto of Brown University in Providence, Rhode Island.
注：罗德岛州普罗维登斯市布朗大学的校训。
038. Latin.
In dubio pro reo.
Translation, In doubt, on behalf of the alleged culprit. Notes, expresses the judicial principle that in case of doubt the decision must be in favor of the accused, in that anyone is innocent until there is proof to the contrary.
注：表达了一项司法原则，即在存疑的情况下，裁决必须有利于被告，因为任何人在罪证确凿之前都是无辜的。
039. Latin.
In duplo.
Translation, In double. Notes, In duplicate.
注：一式两份。
040. Latin.
In effige.
Translation, In the likeness. Notes, In the form of an image, in effigy as opposed to, in the flesh, or, in person.
注：以图像的形式，在肖像中与在肉体上或在人身上相对。
041. Latin.
In esse.
Translation, In existence. Notes, In actual existence, as opposed to in posse.
注：实际存在，与 in posse 相对。
042. Latin.
In extenso.
Translation, In the extended. Notes, In full, at full length, complete or unabridged. 043. Latin.
In extremis.
Translation, In the furthest reaches. Notes, At the very end. In extremity, in dire straits, also, at the point of death, compare.
In articulo mortis.
注：在最后，在极端，陷入困境，也表示临终之时参见。
In articulo mortis.
044. Latin.
In fide scientiam.
Translation, To our faith add knowledge. Notes, motto of Newington College in New South Wales, Australia. 045. Latin.
In fidem.
Translation, Into faith. Notes, To the verification of faith. 046. Latin.
In fieri.
Translation, In becoming. Notes, In progress, pending.
注：进行中，待办的。
047. Latin.
In fine.
Translation, In the end. Notes, At the end. 048. Latin.
In flagrante delicto.
Translation, In a blazing wrong, while the crime is blazing. Notes, Caught in the act, especially a crime or in a compromising position, equivalent to caught red-handed in English idiom.
注：在行动中被捕，尤其是指犯罪过程或处于不正当关系，相当于英语习语中的当场抓获。
049. Latin.
In flore.
Translation, In blossom. Notes, Blooming.
注：盛开。
050. Latin.
In foro.
Translation, In forum. Notes, In court, legal term.
注：在法庭上，法律术语。